Okay, so now both the judges are here and we'll be starting the debate. So I call upon the first speaker from the government side to present his speech.
Should I start?
Yes,
Okay.
time.
Greetings, everyone. I am the Prime Minister. This House believes that democratic government is the best form of government. Well, each one of us knows the famous quote of Abraham Lincoln. I doubt anyone has not heard this. Democracy is a form of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Most countries in the world are democracies, or at least like to call themselves democracies. This exactly is a testament to how this idea has captured so many minds across the globe. Democracy is one of the most beautiful forms of government to exist, and it is very rightly given the credit it deserves. What does democracy do? Well, democracy leads to a sense of equality of vote and opportunity to everyone, to each and every section of the society. Democracy makes sure that everyone is heard equally, be it the most lavish or the poorest sections of the society. It is the most morally, socially, and politically just form of governance. A democracy is people centric. It makes leaders accountable to the citizens of the nation. Yeah, I'll take your POI.
You just said that in a democracy, everyone is allowed to express their questions, but we all know how the media is completely biased and only favors those who pay them. So, do you have answer to that?
Yeah, media is also free to express whatever opinions they have. So there'll obviously be certain media houses which will show biased opinions, but there'll also be some other media houses that will counter all that. So end of the day, it's the people who are taking the information from like me various media houses. It depends on it's obviously dependent on the on what ideas the person has, like whatever media house he or she is watching. But then yeah, I believe the freedom of media houses wouldn't even exist if there was no democracy. So I'll continue with my. What does democracy do? Well, democracy leads to a sense of equality of vote and opportunity to everyone. Democracy makes sure that a system of democracy makes leaders of the government accountable and responsible for their actions to the people, and it forces them to work well. Had there been no democracy in India, had there been dictatorship in India, could one even imagine the multitude of cultures and religions to coexist so beautifully together? Democracy helps us transcend barriers of caste and creed. It makes sure that the voices of minorities are not crushed, that they do not go unheard. Thus, for countries as diverse as our nation, democracy is certainly the best way to go.
You have
Other
1 minute
forms of
left. 1 minute left.
other forms of government, what would dictatorship do? It would lead to a mess over here. It would cause everyone to live by one person's judgment. It would not allow people the freedom to choose their own leaders. We all know what happens in North Korea, how so many people's voice get crushed, how many human rights violations keep happening, how so many of them go unheard. This is all so much relatively rare in democratic nations. Most importantly, a democracy ensures that everyone has freedom to choose who they wish to lead them. Freedom is hammered out on the anvil of discussion, dissent, and debate, and this is exactly what democracy allows. On this note, I conclude my point of view. Thank you.
Okay, so now I call upon the leader of the opposition to present his views.
Democracy is beautiful in theory, but in practice, it is a fallacy. Greetings to one and all present here. Today, I am here to express my views against the belief of the House that democracy is the best form of government possible. A government is for the people, but I don't think that government, as the opposition mentioned, it is for the people, of the people, by the people, but it exactly don't work for the people as well. It is the most unstable form of government which can either be present ever in the history of the time. The government leaders keep on changing, and hence we don't have a stable government which implements all the policies which should be implemented. When it comes to the poor and rich and all, like it's for all of them, I would like to say that what would you say about nepotism and the inclination of the political parties towards those who have a lot of money and those who are having power in their hands? Can you justify this? My next thing is, which I would like to say, that it divides the society, and there is a lot of corruption, inefficiency in the government as well. The leaders are more concentrated towards votes rather than the work they should do. They are not even having the exact idea of their work fields, and the leaders are not that much capable also, having the knowledge of the field they should work into, and they should do what exactly they even don't know. In this way also, we can see that the government is not doing the work exactly what they should do, and the democracy is not the best thing. And coming to my next point, I would like to say that it is all about the power play and nepotism, and it doesn't really address what it should. The decisions and the lawmakings are also very much delayed and they're not that much efficient. Coming to my next point, when it comes to democracy is basically not having its essence in yeah. So I would like to take your POI. Devang, you can continue.
You just now mentioned about corruption. So
Yeah.
don't you think if we don't have a democratic government, if we have a dictatorship, so what would you do about corruption in that? Because that would elevate corruption to a very high level. What are your views on it?
I would like to say that the political parties need a lot of money to address the elections and do their work properly. So from where the money exactly come from? Basically, corruption is another way of doing that thing, and that's why it enhances the corruption in a way. Yeah, Hemant, I would like to take your POI as well. Isn't it here? Okay.
Yeah, shall I go? All right.
Yeah.
Like you have mentioned, the delayed decision making. I would like to ask you, the delayed decision making in the democracy is just for the transparency to improve the decision making process and to give a best decision possible. And then why did you mention that the decision making is delayed and it costs to the citizens?
Yeah. As I mentioned that the decision making is delayed, that is because of the reasons. I would like to give two reasons for that. First reason is that the government is not that stable. It keep on changing. So the bill that it brings over in front of the legislative assembly to take up, it is left for a while because the opposition won't take it in consideration if it becomes the leadership party and rules for a time. That is the first reason. Second reason is that the opposition, as I said, it is only meant for power play, and just they want like opposition is having a mentality to just oppose up. So they don't. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so time up. Now I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to present his views.
I'm the Deputy Prime Minister of the government, and I would like to start by contributing to the statement of the Prime Minister.
Hello guys, 1 second. Can you all just say your name before you start speaking?
Okay. My name is Hemant Meena, and I'm the Deputy Prime Minister of the government. I would like to add to the statement that the Prime Minister has just told. Democratic government is by the people, for the people, of the people. Like people get the chance to choose their leaders who can represent their opinions at the best. Like the leader of the opposition has mentioned that the government keeps on changing. That creates some issues with the functioning of the government. But the changing of the leaders, the changing of the one who will represent their views provides something in the hand of the citizens of the country so that they can choose who will make laws for them, who can work for them efficiently. Like they get the chance to work for it. But if in case of non-democratic governments, no one really can change the leader on their own. It's the leader himself who can change himself, but they don't really do. So the lawmaking can't be in the hands of the citizens. Like the person who is in the power, he or she will do whatever he wants to do. The first thing is that. Secondly, the leader of the opposition has mentioned nepotism in democratic countries. But the nepotism in democratic countries might be there. It might be there in a small amount, but you can simply think that if there is nepotism, then the citizens who are choosing, who are voting, have the chance to change their leaders. They have the chance to completely deny this nepotism. But in non-democratic countries, you don't really have to chance for you to vote for anyone, to choose whom you want as your leader. So the thing of nepotism is completely rejected with that. Okay, the third thing that she has mentioned is delayed decision making. So when it comes to delayed decision making, it is due to the fair and transparent form of lawmaking. The efficiency and the effectiveness of the laws hugely increases when it comes to delayed decision making. And as she said, if delayed decision making will be there, the opposition, when they will come to power, they can simply reject those laws. But that's not the case. No one just come and change the law on their own. They have to go by the process. They have to follow everything step by step. They have to take the bill or law in the legislative assembly, then vote for it, just like the government has done when they implemented that law. So no law can be changed by that. Like I would like to take POI now. Karthik. I'm not able to hear you. You are muted.
You just talked about transparency and democracy. So
Yes.
I would just like to ask you how really transparent countries like Russia are called full-fledged democracies.
Russia is not a democratic country. There is a leader of their own. People don't really get the chance to choose their leader. As you might have seen, like Vladimir Putin has done has changed the law in order so that he cannot be replaced. Like he is the only one, but that's not the case in fair democratic countries. You can hear, like we in India have a democratic government and we get the chance to elect our leaders in every 5 years. I guess I've answered to your query.
The very leaders which you have elected right now, if they tomorrow change the law that
first of all, you can't really speak when I have replied to your query. You have to raise the hand. But when, as you have said, like the leaders, they will change tomorrow. That's due to the beauty of them. That's due to the beauty of the government. Now, I would like to take the POI from Nikita. Okay.
Yeah,
Hemant, 1 minute left.
Okay. Sorry. So the world in the 19th and 20th century saw a huge surge in demand for the democratic government. That is because of the realization of the fact that the democratic government is the best possible way for governing our country. They have realized that the people, when they get the chance to choose their leaders, that's the most efficient way for the government to function, for the country to develop. The development in other forms of government might or might not be greater than the democracy, but the people who are affected by the development varies a lot. Minorities and poor, they don't really get a chance to to improve their conditions in case of non-democratic governments, but they get the chance to be heard. They get the chance to elect their leaders. They get the chance to present their opinions and views. In case of the democratic governments, they get the chance to improve their social and economic conditions. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I call upon the deputy leader of the opposition to present his views.
Hi, I am Nakul Nirma Bagricha. Let me act as a catalyst to sink a perspective in everyone's mind. Let me give an example first of all. China. China, as an example, was able to control the population of his country easily. Can India do it? No, it cannot. Because we all have to make a decision. The opposition will have to make a decision. But when a democratic country is not there, it can be done easily. Second point, can we even say it is a freedom? No, we surely not, because there's no chance that we have a freedom of everything. There's everything a power related, as most of our leaders are elected due to the nepotism. And not only that, the line powerful becomes more powerful can be clearly visualized in our society because of its democracy. Not only development is getting hindered, but society is at its brink of corruption crime. Everything like rape, murder, everything is going on high because there is always a power related thing. The one which have a contact with the greatest, with the powerful one, can easily get a bill. Everything as a third nowadays. Government controls everything, and thus we cannot say it is a truly democratic. And I would like to add a point about the construction that have been made before. Construction also have a hindrance. So when a government changes, the next government won't easily take the project in its hand because it won't really affect its vote, right? Because it's not their project, it won't get any advantage from it. And secondly, the crime things that we are talking that in democracy country, these are all getting lower. It's not really. Can you all see the graph that are increasing now day by day? The murders that are increasing day by day, and not only that, they easily get the bail. And secondly, news we all think uh, are, are as free as a government, but surely not, because all government have their own on news channel, and they are all related. We cannot say that anything is free in this country or in any democratic country. And let me ask you all some few questions. Is justice same for all the people, no matter what race it is, what caste it is, what powerful it is, how low, middle class, lower class, and higher class? No, it's not. And each and every government always greets the one which is more powerful, more rich in their country first. Like in our country, Ambani is first greeted, no matter what it does. All the policies that he make, all the development he want can easily be accepted by the government. But at the other end, if we see some other startups or everything, they don't get the equal chances. They will have to wait in the line for government policies, government acceptance for days, for months and years. We cannot see even that. And another thing, justice is always delayed. Justice cannot be found easily in this country because it's always related to power. It's always related. If something is related to politics, justice is surely gonna be delayed. And we can see always that it's delayed for months, for years. If a murder case is related to a politician, it's going to be delayed. And opportunities, the one which is in contact with the government will always gets the opportunities first, where those who are not able to reach or contact them will not. Yeah. And I would last to say leaders are not even get exact ideas. Leaders, we can see our own leaders. How are they? Do we even think that they are educated? Most of them are not even educated, and we have given our country all our decisions of our country in their hands, and we are even forced. We can see that most of our people are forced in some or the other way. Like I can relate this to an example that two people in Mumbai were forced to live in India, in Mumbai, because they were not from here. And surely we can even say that this is a freedom, right? Thank you.
Okay, now I call upon the government whip to speak.
So greetings to everyone. I, Devang Agarwal, as the government whip, strongly support the democratic form of government. First of all, as the leader of opposition mentioned, like our whole idea was based on the flaws in the implementation of the government and not in the form of the government. So the basic idea where the opposition stands now is whole upon the implementation of the government. As a government, we definitely ensure that nothing comes, no obstacles come under the implementation of the policies. It's not if the implementation of the policies are not right, it doesn't mean that we should not even think of the policies. We should be thinking of policies and we should be focusing on the strengthening the implementation of the policy. Secondly, she brought up the point of nepotism. Firstly, if the people who are affected, who are the stakeholders of the company, if they don't get the right to choose their own leaders, this will, what do you think about dictatorship? Will it not lead to nepotism? This will lead to nepotism to a large number of extent, because the leader who's already there in the dictatorship will now try to be their hires to be in the dictatorship as well. Secondly, the deputy leader of opposition just mentioned about freedom. Seriously, because in the dictatorship form of government, freedom is not at all. You can't even express your ideas in front of the government. There is no criticism. You are not allowed to profess your religion as we see in other countries. So freedom is not at all there in dictatorship, if you mention it. Thirdly, they mentioned about rapes and murders. So, what do you think about rapes and murders in the dictator countries where the democratic form of government is not there? It's just that people are not allowed to bring up the rapists and the murders who rapes the people because they are otherwise in dictatorship form of government. The people, the ones in the power, have the power to do anything. They have the ability to control media as well. So the people who are there in the who are there in the public, so they will not be able to oppose if even if he commits crimes, even if he rapes or murders. So it will definitely lead to large number of rapes and murders. Secondly, they brought something about justice dealing, right? The deputy leader of opposition mentioned that justice would be delayed. So I would like to mention that although justice would be delayed, but it doesn't mean that we should make any decision. Justice is happening. It should take time. Rather than taking the wrong decision, it's better to take a right decision. It's better to take a right delayed decision rather than a wrong decision. So that just stands in. And deputy leader of opposition mentioned something of being in queues. So that in dictatorship form of government, what you just mentioned was that someone would be favored, and in democratic form of government, we'll have to
1 minute left.
accommodate everyone. So we have to accommodate everyone into our ecosystem, and because of which we have to stand in queues. So this will actually enhance the form of government. And obviously, there is no debate in this that democracy is not the best form of government, because as a dictator, you can profess anything you want. You can be like, you have all the power. You have the power to control the media. You can do whatever you want. But in democracy, there will be people who will be criticizing you. There will be dissent. So it will keep a check on you to how transparency is the key to democracy. People see what you are doing and they will be judging you, they will be criticizing you, and you'll have to reconsider yourself, reconcile yourselves as the way they are. And you just now said that the leaders are not educated. They campaigned, they elected, they influenced people to vote for them. How can you say that they are not educated? They had the power. They had the power to judge. They had the ability to. They had the. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. But they had the ability to influence everyone. So that just rests my case. Thank you.
So now the opposition whip can come up and speak.
Good evening, everyone. I am Karthik Singhal. I am the government whip, and I'll be presenting my case. I'm really dumbfounded by the blind arguments put forward by the government here, especially by the government whip. And as previously stated by the leader of the opposition, Nikita, democracy is beautiful only in theory and not in practice. And this could not have been better presented other than by the government itself. And on every question we asked, every point they had to put forward, the only defense they had was comparing democracy with a dictatorship. That's really narrow-sighted of you. Out there is not just dictatorship and democracy. There is a whole palette of different types, forms, and iterations of governments which are there. There's socialism, there's theocracy, there's colonialism, there's communism, and there are a plethora of different types of governments with their own positives and negatives. But democracy stands out as being a really inefficient form to do a really basic task, that is of leading people. Democracy is not able to undertake basic functions like an efficient change in policy. We are a witness to the fact how democracies regularly are prone to delaying decisions to a point where those decisions don't matter anymore. Democracies, as they are elected for really short terms, and there are too many elections, even if people who want to work, even if they are elected, they are not able to do any constructive work, because in some part of the country, in some local election, in some state election, they are having to spend their time and resources to win that election, to have their power continued. And so even if someone wants to work, they are not able to work. Another beautiful point I would like to put forward is that democracy works on the principle of dividing people. Democracy exists because politicians are out there dividing people on the basis of caste, on the basis of religion, on the basis of their own selfish interests, to divide people, to create vote banks out of them and extract their votes. This is really a culmination of evil, if I say so myself. In a democracy, we all know that the time to take decisions is massive, and our friend here had talked about the transparency in those decisions. And I would just like to say that it is just there for you to say the transparency. It's not there actually. The quote by Abraham Lincoln, which you said that democracy is for the people, by the people, this is just there for you, for your own sake. Okay, in reality, the government is simply not determined or run by these principles. These are just there for the common man to think that the government is theirs, while the government keeps doing what it wishes to. We all know how there is a strong hand of
1
power
minute
play
left.
in Indian in the Indian democracy. There's a strong hand of power play and muscle of money. So even in democracy, we end up giving all the power to those who already had monetary power, and we just load on democratic power onto them. There are many different forms of government like communism and socialism, which can also be explored. China is a beautiful example how it started from communism. At its very root, it was founded out of communism, and that was able to, and because of that, they were able to set their targets straight and move towards in a certain direction. Because of our democracy during the starting years of our country, our development was so haphazard and our trajectory was so undecided, the leaders so confused that for the past 50 or so years, we really are not at a point where we should have been. And this can be said for a lot of democracies. Okay, now talking about only those democracies which succeed is not the right thing. We also not need to talk about Northern Africa or Eastern Europe, where the democracies are simply failed states. They're just democracies because they have been taught that being democracy is good. They have never looked into whether it is actually useful or it is actually having a negative impact on their countries. I would just like to conclude that democracy is by far not the best form of government, and this really needs to be looked forward to. We really need to see and explore the different types of governments. Just blindly following democracy will take us nowhere.
Time up. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's a really nice debate. Well done to all of you. And now we'll wait for the judge's verdict before beginning the next round.
Guys, is it possible that we give the verdict in the end for all rounds? Like, there are two judges, so we'll have to discuss, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so you can begin with the next round, like give the topic.
Okay.
Vinamra ma'am, can we leave this meet for now?
Just a second. Wait for the announcement of the next round and then we'll do.
Okay.
So now for the next round will be held between Bravo and Charlie. And here Bravo will be on the government side and Charlie will be on the opposition side. The topic for the debate is: this house believes that students should consider opting their passion as their major. So you start the discussion. Okay, so now we'll be starting the debate. I would first like to call upon the Prime Minister from the government side to present his idea.
Those who have started growing wings shall forever remain untouchable by the rest of the others. Greetings to everyone, myself Kunj from Bravo, and here I am to favor the motion that is, this house believes that a student should opt for a major in which he has a passion. It is really pointless to even think that passion is not important as a major. If you really have passion for something, then what's the point in doing minor in it? Passion for a career makes waking up for work every morning less dreadful. Choosing a major based on your passion gives you the ability to finally accomplish the goals and leave the skeptics behind. Having a passion for something and following that passion can bring genuine happiness to you and have lasting impression on others. We don't need just workers. We need people who can work with all their heart and mind. Which can only happen if they pursue their passion. In today's world, people live mechanical lives with no passion. And has money really become the only reason for survival? It is helpful for survival, not the reason for the survival. No amount of money can give you a good sleep if you don't feel like living. Let me give you some examples. Einstein, De Broglie, Sachin Tendulkar, CR7, this all are the some of the greatest persons in their field. And guess what? They have opted for their passion, and thus they were able to really such great heights. There is a dogma in our society that we should follow the crowd. But do you really think that's really necessary in today's world? Do you really think that if we remain with the crowd, we would be successful? To be successful, you need to stand outside. You need to choose your own path with your own life, with your own decisions. And if we always remain with the crowd, and then we are not able to reach to the top of our fields. That's why I would like to say that it is really, really very important that we should discover our passion and we should follow it, because only those who are daring to take a path that is untaken by the rest can reach to a destination that is not seen by the rest. Thank you. Yes, you can ask the question. Yeah, you can ask the question.
So you said that no amount of money can buy happiness. Well, what if the passion you follow does not pay you enough money because you just thought you had skills but you never had them? And what if you don't even have a house? How will you sleep? Where will you have your happiness then?
Do you know Elvis Presley? He had so many cars, and some of them were the diamond studded BMWs. But do you know he has so much money that his toilet was even of the gold, but he was not able to sleep properly. Why? Because no, he was not happy with his life. He did not feel like living. So when you follow your passion, you don't need to push yourself every day to live. You feel the enjoyment and the happiness from inside. And do you know that Elvis Presley committed suicide at the age of 34 by taking 7 sleeping pills at once? So really, that kind of money is helpful for the survival. Thank you.
You still have a minute left if you wish to continue.
I rest my case.
Okay, so now I call upon the leader of opposition to present his views.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll be beginning in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, everyone. I am the leader of opposition, and here I am today to express my views about the topic of the day, which is that this house believes that the students should consider opting their passion as their major. And we have contradicting arguments to this. Before I proceed with my set of arguments, I would like to quote and unquote a very famous saying of one of the billionaire, Mark Cuban, and also a millionaire, Galloway, who expresses their sentiments, and both the entrepreneurs, legendary entrepreneurs, say that follow your passion is a terrible advice. This seems contradicting. All our lives, we were made to believe and follow the line of thought that everyone follows, and we were made to believe and think that following the passion is what defines us and is what makes anyone's lives better, and that is what is going to make the best out of you. Firstly, any person who follows their passion and decides to choose their passion as their major in whichever course they do not have a clear thought of what they actually want. That is simply because whoever follows a passion uh, in choosing a major belong to the age group of the teenage. And what is a teenage group? That is a fickle minded stage that we all pass through. And you and I are of the same group. We do not have clear thoughts about what we want. And again, I here do not specify that uh, no, other people would have better knowledge on what we want. But again, following the passion is not a true advice that anyone could give. And also, my argument entirely revolves around that following a passion and fixing to one set of passion, a single passion, restricts yourself to just one boundary. What if, say, you take your passion, you choose your passion, and make sure that you choose it as a minor? You'll be able to improve your skills at that simultaneously with along with the actual true potential that you have. We have passions that keep changing with time. We are humans. We are dynamic. And also, most of the teenagers that we do not really have a fixed line of thought. Most people are not able to confidently state a specific passion or how to tie it with their career. And in this, we are not alone. Everyone is together. It gives an impression that our passion comes with ease. And any magical dream job will not be waiting until you follow your passion. And right now, I'll take a POI in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. POI. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so sorry, I thought you were counting. So you said that at a fickle age we had a teenage. So do you remember Cristiano Ronaldo? He did not have the house to live. He was not even getting three times a meal. Still, he used to go to the football fields because that was his passion. And you see today, he is a billionaire. And
I get
he
your
became
question.
the
I get your
greatest person.
question. Thank you. I get your question. Here, what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't restrict every single person to follow their passion as choosing their major, because that would lead to a world where we do not really get the true benefits from the people, the true talents of the people will not be attributed. And you will not be able to develop a holistic world. What are we heading towards? We are with a line of thought that following a passion is what is going to define us, and for following a passion brings the best out of us, but that is not true. And
Time up.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so now the Deputy Prime Minister can continue.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, I am Prashasti Abujwar and I am Deputy Prime Minister of this debate. Light yourself on fire with passion, and people will come from miles to watch you burn. Let us elaborate our perspective and it sink in everyone's mind. A very big example who followed her passion is the Lata Mangeshkar ji, who have followed her passion of singing from childhood itself, and now she is the Nightingale of India. Let me clear it first. Everyone believes that passion won't bring food to your house. But let's be honest, following a thing you don't like will make you die mentally every day. And there is no such career which cannot bring richness if you are able to put your heart in it. For example, streamers, although it's worst way of living, but they are millionaires now. Why do you think most of the IITians ended up following their passions, though they have reached such a great institute? After basic needs being fulfilled, the smile on our face is the only goal of life and not living. It is even worse than demise. It's really pointless to even think that passion is not important as a measure. If you are really passionate for something, then what's point in doing minor in that? If someone can't state your passion, should that child be encouraged or discouraged? Elon Musk said changing educational system needs to change because they are destroying their passion. Will anyone be able to live happily if they are forced to? If you take passion as minor, it won't be very nice. Yes.
So my point is, ma'am. So how you stated about passion as you said. So how can you relate this to India? That is my question. How can you relate this to the millions of students that study in India?
Yeah. So students, you said about students. Uh, See, some students do not have clarity, as it is said by
1 minute left.
opposition leader. Okay. Yeah. So some students do not have clarity, as that is said by opposition leader. But as soon as we get the clarity, the passion should be followed. That is my saying on that. And thank you. I conclude.
Okay, so now I would like to call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to present his views on the topic.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Siddharth Solanki. I'm the deputy leader of the opposition, and I would like to present some points in front of the gathering. So, firstly, I would like to say to the House that exceptions cannot be treated as examples. Taking the examples of Elvis Presley, Lata Mangeshkar, Cristiano Ronaldo, or even Virat Kohli cannot be even taken in this point of view. It's even rather diabolical to even mention them. I want to say to the House that let's not talk about billionaires or millionaires today. Let's talk about the reality. Let's talk about our country, the majority of the population. 75% of our country resides in rural areas. These points presented by the House would sound really good if we were living in a first world country. But we are not. We are living in India. And in India, a person needs to understand that following his or her passion cannot always bring her success. Uh, Taking on a tangent, in a really nice book I read sometime, Yuval Noah Harari, in his book Homo Sapiens, said that humans are ever evolving. We can never stop ourselves, restrict ourselves, as mentioned by my leader of opposition. So restricting yourself to one passion is always detrimental. That is my point. Times and societies are always changing. You cannot predict what will happen in your life even 1 month after. Even I cannot predict what will I be pursuing 1 month after. We have got to shape our lives and our careers accordingly. We have to have a plan according to which we will do something. Restricting yourself is bad. There is no need to do that. I'm open to points of information now.
And the only thing you're saying again and again is not really not shedding any light on what should be the path to making that decision. Who should make that decision as to what major you should choose? What should that decision be based on?
So taking our own examples, there is a structured phase for everything. We have to do some things to gain something. So in India, there is already a very structured program for which every teenager in college can follow, and in my opinion, it is a very good thing. And that is my answer. So if there is no points of information, I would like to conclude that.
I would like to ask that.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you tag each and every successful person as an exception? Because like there are numerous examples. Like Rajnikant, he was once a bus conductor, but followed the passion of his acting, and today he is. Sachin Tendulkar slept on a cricket bench, still he is. So we just can't ignore all of that. And C. Raman, Indian example, and these all are Indian examples.
1 minute left.
So, taking the example of CV Raman, he pursued his passion. I agree with you. He pursued it passion and found something great. But do you think he knew what he was going to discover? Do you agree with me? Because he never knew he was going to discover something great and win the Nobel Prize. He had to follow a structured program. He had to learn things. He did not restrict himself to, like, I will study physics. He had to learn some things also. So that is my point. Thank you. I rest my case.
Okay, now I call upon the government whip to present his points.
Good evening, everyone. I am Karthik Singhal, the government whip, and I will be presenting my case. So first, I would like to just recall what our friend Taha here said, that we need food, we need a house to live, and we need money to live. You are correct, my friend, but no one said that following passion will have you end up without any money or without any resources. We should know that hard work is a necessity for everyone. Okay, whether you follow your passion or not, even if you don't follow your passion, if you don't do hard work, whatever stream you take, whatever decision you make, even if you take the so-called money-making streams, you really won't be making too much money if you don't do hard work. And APJ Abdul Kalam sir once said that to glow like a sun, you first need to burn like one. And I would just like to add, to burn like a sun, you also need to have hydrogen. Okay, without passion, however much hard work you do, you are going to really be limiting yourself. Then, if you work without passion, if you work without reason, if every morning the only thing you are looking forward to is something which you don't like to do, I don't think you're really going to get too far. And the leader of the opposition, Ruchita, had given us a quote by Mark Cuban that passion is following your passion is a bad advice. It's really easy to quote down, so I would just like to say that if someone has said anything, we really need to attach our own weight to it, and it's not enough to just quote some people. Then again, as I asked Siddharth Solanki, that what should be the decision based on, and what should be the process for making that decision, and he evaded that question saying that the college has some sort of decision making mechanism. And I would just like to ask him that already, if you are in college, you have already chosen your major, what's really the point of having that machinery, that decision making machinery over there, when you have already chosen your major? Then again, one of
आप लोग कमेंट करके बोलते हो भाई आवाज नहीं जा रही है भाई
our
वीडियो
dear
बना रहा है तो इसलिए प्लीज सारी स्टेप्स को ध्यान से देखो ठीक है
friend would like to ask them what do they really mean by a dream job, because they on one hand say
पहली बार देख रहे हो आवाज पहली बार सुन रहे हो तो सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर देना इस चैनल को
that for advice, and then they tell you to follow your dream job. So what is your dream job? One with a really big figure of salary package, is that your dream job? And if that is your dream job, I'm sorry, but that is not my dream job, at least. And it is true that everyone does not need to have passion.
और यहाँ पे जो है ये सीन का टैब रहता है
And even in a country like India, I completely recognize that someone who has really meager resources will not have passion, but that does not mean those who have passion need to be forced into letting those passions go. Okay, those who have passion should follow those passions. My friend Patel here had a Saudi brother, and I would just elaborate a bit on his De Broglie had actually first chosen history as his major. Such a brilliant mind who had the capacity to contribute to the physics community had chosen history as his major. The reason you all know why? He had chosen history as a major because at that time in that time in the world in the early 1900s, history
minute
professors
left.
were just paid much more. Humanities was just way more popular than science. So he had chosen that. But after spending a few years, he recognized that physics was actually his true passion. Such important few years of such a bright person were wasted because he chose what was not his passion, because he merely followed a few numbers of salary. That's really destructive for the world. If we want the world to progress, just merely earning a good salary really won't do. We would have to move ahead of our own selfish interests and work for the society as a whole. And that is only possible if people start working on their passions. Not everyone needs to have a passion, but those who do must follow their passions to have a better life, to be able to go to sleep happily. That's really important.
Time up.
And thank you.
Okay, so now I call upon the opposition whip to present his views and conclude the debate.
Greetings, everyone. This is Tajwala, the opposition whip. So, first of all, supporting the point of the leader of the opposition, I would like to add that researchers at Stanford have found out that people's beliefs and their mindsets may lead them to succeed or fail at developing certain interests. Interest is what is considered as passions nowadays. Also, the government could not answer one basic question: who will talk about the many actors, many cricketers, and many other people in many other fields who never actually got the fame they thought they deserved? Well, but they could not because of the system or some other reason. Well, I must put and I must emphasize on this that it is not passion that matters, but it is the talent that matters the most. Second, supporting the deputy leader of the opposition, as the government is taking names of people who have earned big fames like Sachin Tendulkar, Lata Mangeshkar, Elon Musk. Let us now talk of another big success, which we all must know, is MS Dhoni. He did not follow his passion primarily. He first secured a job in the railways, then he went on to follow his passion. And he is also such a big success. So here the main talk was that if should people be allowed to basically follow their passion as their major. Well, it is not necessary that to actually succeed, you need it as a major. Well, De Broglie eventually succeeded, right? Also, as the government whip said that it's really easy to throw around quotes. Well, if you would throw around a quote, I would definitely not believe in it. But Mark Cuban, he's a billionaire. He's a self-made billionaire. He has done things in life you cannot even imagine. He has been life, he has been the toughest points of life. He's actually really qualified to put up quotes. As many other famous people say, get successful, then you realize how thoughtful those quotes are. Now, also, like the current educational choices available has actually like been through the angle of time. They have evolved in such a way that they are good enough to give you basic information that helps you land a good enough life. Yeah, but like Kunj, I would like to take it up you.
I would like to first of all say that you said talent, right? So talent is something you bloom, whereas skill is something you polish. So my question is, when will the best of a person comes out? When he is doing something he is not interested in, or when he is doing something he is passionate about?
I understand. Okay. First of all, the topic of this debate is not that if he should do it or not do it. It's about what should he pick as his major. He's not going to pick a risky job as actor as his major, because most of the actors, let's face it, 99% of the entrepreneurs don't make it. Like most of the actors don't make it. So if you put it as a major and if you focus your life, there are very slim chances that you are going to make. So what we are suggesting is don't take up some really undefined career skill as your passion, because you are not going to get it. Okay, and while following your passion, it actually sounds like a nice idea on the surface, but understand it's just the tip of the iceberg. If you take it as your major, most of us don't know where they land. Most of the actors don't actually land even bare minimum wages. So, like on the basis of the following points, I conclude the debate, and I also conclude that the opposition still believes that people should not follow their passions as their major. Thank you.
Okay, great. So it was a really nice debate, and I guess the judges will give their verdict later. So, moving on to the third topic and the third and the final debate. So, as you all can guess, the third debate will be between Bravo and Charlie, where Bravo will be on the opposition side and Charlie on the government side. The topic for the debate is
Ma'am, we have already been in two debates.
sorry, Alpha. Yeah, all Alpha on the opposition side and Charlie on the government side. And the topic for the debate is this house believes that technology leads to a man's downfall. And you can start discussing at 7:42 sharp.
Ma'am, please repeat what did you
Sorry,
say
ma'am,
because
the
network.
motion was not clear.
Okay, so the motion is this house believes that technology leads to a man's downfall. Is that clear now? And you can start discussing. Okay, so the debate will begin sharp at 8. Okay, but keep your cameras on and you're not supposed to discuss now. Okay, so we'll start the debate now. I call upon the Prime Minister from the government side to present his views.
So I'll start in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm Shivesh Gupta. I'm the Prime Minister for the government side, and I propose that the technology leads to a man's downfall. One of the greatest scientists of all times, Einstein, stated, I know not with what weapons World War III would be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. The emergence of nuclear weapon and drone bombing are clear threats of technology. One wrong decision taken in the heat of the moment could be exacerbated to the extent of wiping the entire human population, and there would not be one single person left to appreciate the technological wonders we sing of. The emergence of artificial intelligence has hazards sans bound. The fear of creation overpowering the creator is not far-fetched. And with personalities like Elon Musk and Bill Gates agreeing on the same, we have genuine reasons of concern. The third and the most immediate adversity from tech is the detrimental health impact it possesses, which can be seen in the immense rise of diseases in the current age. The older generations used to be healthier, they used to be more stronger, but the modern generation suffers from joint pains and all the other diseases we could think of. Hence, to clearly state, the government does not propose a blind ban on technological progress and scientific progression, but urges to underline the hazards, imminent dangers of technology. Thank you. Is there any POI?
Yes, I would like to ask a POI that you have mentioned that Elon Musk and Bill Gates are agreeing on the same thing, but that is the hazards of what the consequences of misusing the technology is. That's not really how technology leads to the downfall. So please elaborate with that.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, when we talk about Bill Gates and Elon Musk, they are well-read people, and they are the people who predicted the coronavirus pandemic, and they only say that coronavirus or a pandemic would be the next major issue that the human population would face. And if they are predicting something bad about AI technology, then we should better take it into consideration rather than ignoring it. Are there any more POIs?
Yes, I would like to ask further firstly that was not the answer to my question, and I've raised my hand. Firstly, that was not the answer to my question, and secondly, I would like to mention that coronavirus is not spread due to technology which has saved us from it. Yeah.
Listen, you have misunderstood me. I wanted to say that Bill Gates is a well-read person and he predicted coronavirus. So if he says that AI possesses a threat to humanity, we cannot ignore his point of view.
1
and we
minute left.
should look forward to the future of technology. Yep, thank you. Are there any more PIs? So I'd like to summarize that the government does not propose again to ban the technological progress in everything, but the government proposes and underlines the dangers that are associated with technology that would lead to a man's downfall. Thank you.
Okay, so now I would like to call upon the leader of opposition to present his views.
Greetings everyone. Myself Adarsh Kavishwar and I am the leader of opposition, and this house regrets the idea that technology is a man's downfall. So, technology is an excellent way for humans to simplify their lives and make it easier. Technology is the scientific knowledge used for practical purposes. Technology makes use of science to create devices which make the life of man easier. This very debate is possible right now due to technology. Technology is a tool that can be used in both positive and negative manner, and our team believes that 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 technology should be used in a constructive manner. And if it's used in a constructive manner, it's a great tool, and if it's used in a constructive manner, it can do wonders and make the life so much more easier. For instance, the development of COVID vaccines was possible due to technology, and this is slowly leading to the death of COVID-19 pandemic. If a man uses it in a negative way, like the wars, like if it's used in wars, as the Prime Minister stated, then of course it can lead to a man's downfall. In this scenario, rather than blaming technology, the person should take their own responsibility and should use technology in the way that it should be used, that is in constructive ways, and for research purposes, and to develop more and more more and more devices which can make the life of man easier. Is there any POI? I would like to take the POI.
The speaker has rightly mentioned that technology has to, the speaker has rightly mentioned that technology has to be useful in the best efficient way to get the best possible result. But what does the speaker have to answer in telling that no matter which field or which area we use technology, we end up having the negative impacts because of its detrimental health effects?
if it's if the it whether technology is going to degrade the health of a person, it actually depends on the way a person is going to use the technology. If I sit for my if I sit near my computer for maybe 5 hours a day or 6 hours a day, of course my health is going to degrade. But it's not how technology is intended to be used. Technology is intended to be used in a much more conservative manner. For example, like if I use if I use my laptop for 2 hours, I should definitely take a break of maybe 30 minutes or so and do some exercise so that I can maintain my health.
One minute left if you want to continue.
I am done putting up my points. I think I'll conclude my speech over there. Thank you.
Okay, so now I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to state his views.
Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. So I would be going in 3, 2, 1. A very good evening to everyone present here. I am Ravikant Singh and I am going to speak in favor of the motion that technology leads to a man's downfall. One of the most prominent scientists of all times, Stephen Hawking, quoted, "Most of the threats we face come from the progress we have made in science and technology up till now." I have three crisp arguments to support whatever the House believe to support our motion. My first point is that too much development in science and technology is leading to create artificial intelligence, brains which can think of their own, who have their own minds, who can uh, uh, manipulate things, who can do things on their own, make decisions on their own. So how much time would they take to realize in their how much time would they take to realize that humans are a threat to them, like everybody wants a good for themselves. So if they are having a mind of their own, thought process of their own, they I don't there must not be any time, like they won't take much time to realize that humans are a threat to them. Humans are controlling them. They would want their freedom. So they would try to uh, destroy human beings, the whole human civilization, and try to control us like we are controlling technology. They would counter this by controlling us. My second point is my second argument is that on global level we are seeing loss of job opportunities. Even in India nowadays, the young youth is facing a lot of loss of job opportunities. As the science as the technology grows and grows and create more and more new technology, the actual job opportunities that people could do are decreasing to a lot extent. More and more automating machines, more and more uh, mm, health devices which can control people, everything. They are like job opportunities are literally decreasing to a great extent after this technology improves. Okay, any POIs?
Yes, I would like to ask you that the job opportunities that you're talking about, they're not really decreasing. The jobs previously that were there for the labor, they are decreasing. The AI and other technologies are helping us to create jobs in further sectors like mechatronics, biotechs. You can think about them.
Okay.
Basically, the labor work is reduced and the mind work is now coming into play. That technology is not really reducing any jobs.
So you are saying that labor work is reduced. So of course labor work is reduced, and I want to say that AI is a single AI can control the work of 10 to 100 people's work. It can function. So what about those 100 people whose job is gonna lose by that AI? Of course,
1 minute left.
now I would like to put forth my last argument, which goes for health issues. These technology is creating more and more health issues. People are like giving so much screen time. Their eyes are eyes are getting affected, their whole body and the whole system in which the nature has developed us, we are like getting affected by technology. So to conclude my speech, I would like to emphasize that technology is creating more and more problems for every solution they create. So yes, technology would lead to man's downfall. Thank you.
Okay. Next, I would like to call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to present his views.
Jai Hind. I am Aditya Pratap Goswami, and this house, and I am the deputy leader of opposition. And this house regrets that the technology leads to the downfall of humans. First of all, the government said about the health issues. Uh, I would like to address that the life in pandemic could not be possible uh, because the life in pandemic could not be possible because without tech. It saved so much of lives, and it created vaccine even without with the help of tech. And the second point is ease of access to information. We cannot imagine our life without Google, because Google is now a part of our daily routine. We can just everything is available at one click. And the technology is also saving a lot of time. It saves times in banking transactions. Even the admissions in IIT Bombay was possible because of the technology. It creates a better communication means. This debate is now possible just because of the technology that we are attending on Google Meet. And even the education is reaching to the every part of the country by the edtech. And it also increases the transparency in the government works. And also uh, also the disabled are now abled. Pacemakers are creating lives for those who have heart issues. And every disabled are now using technology to survive in this running world. And uh, we are able to learn anything and everything just because of the technology. We could study in this pandemic time on the online classes because of this technology. So any POIs? Yeah, Ruchita.
Speaker, again, I would like to quote your statement that you had mentioned that life in the pandemic would have not been possible without technology. But the point here is that life would have not been possible without technology is fine. But here we are talking about the downfall of man. We are so much inclined towards technology. We are so much falling behind technology that is leading to the detrimental effect.
So that's what we have said in the previous also, that technology is not an issue here. The issue is how we are using technology. Our schedule should be in such a way that our health is not declining. We should exercise after every two hours of screen time. And the thing is, our schedule needs to change, and not technology has nothing to do with here. Yeah, Ravikant.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, like, if we take examples of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we saw the what devastation, what destroy, mass destruction this technology created. Recent example, we are seeing this Russia and Ukraine. They are on the verge of fighting. What's your say on that?
Again, this is not about technology. In this case, this was about the greed of power and the greed of land acquaintance and all of that. That technology, the nuclear energy can be used in many more efficient ways.
20
And
seconds left.
the nuclear energy can be used in many more efficient ways, and we can transcend technology, electricity to the unmobile part of the world just because of the nuclear energy. I now rest my case.
Thank you so much. Now I call upon the government whip to conclude.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll begin my argument in 3, 2, 1. Panel, I think our entire debate flow is lacking the definition of what we are focusing here. Firstly, we are believing that technology leads to a man's downfall. And by downfall, what exactly do we mean by that? Downfall, as in not just with detrimental health effects, but also a man's ethical values. As rightly pointed by the Prime Minister, technology creates alternative pathways for everyone to develop their own skill. It eases the burden that is not accessible by everyone. And this leads to the polarization of in between people. That was rightly pointed by our Prime Minister. And also, our leader of opposition very falsely made a very flawed argument saying that it has got both positive and negative impacts. That is something to be acceptable. But here, we have to consider the true reality case wherein a person, any person for that matter, not of any age group, if they tend to follow the line of technology that we all follow, they would obviously tend to they have the urge and the addiction to keep following it and use it in the wrong sense. Obviously they would not have any control over their own lives. This might be counteracted with an explanation that the opposition might have and say you can have a control of your own life, but in reality, is that happening? You can go propagate telling people that your life is in your control, but we are here and we are here talking about reality. And also, I would like to mention some of the points that the Deputy PM had made. And also, we should consider one of the worst and traumatizing, gruesome effects that technology has, and one of which is the metaverse. It was so disheartening and shocking to see a virtual gang rape that was done on Facebook. Where are the ethical values? Where are we heading towards? Which world are we going to? And again, the deputy leader of opposition, again very clearly, made a very flawed argument saying that Google has become our daily routine. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the entire debate is going against? It shouldn't be our daily routine. Are we running behind computers? Are we running behind technology? Is that ruling our lives? No. We have to have a definition of our own existence by which we'll have to make ways to rule our own lives. We should not give the control to other people and let by other people here, I literally mean technology. We shouldn't let technology decide what we do. And considering there are no POIs,
1 minute
5,
left.
4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Again, the points that the opposition had mentioned very clearly re-emphasized on the same argument, saying that it depends on you. But in realistic sense, that is so not true. And the very concise and very elegant way that I could deliver our notion, our intention is that this technology just gives a way for a man to escape from reality, and they do not lead to any interactions. And we are all social animals. We are supposed to interact. And this eventually leads to loss of job opportunities. You might say the opposition might say you might have job opportunities in AI, but that is not giving you a job opportunity. That is going to be a threat to your own life. That is the technology is going to sit over your head and rule your own existence. This is not the world that we want.
Time up.
There'll be a downfall of every single one in the entire globe. Thank you.
Okay, so that was a great debate. Now we'll wait for the verdict of the judges.
No, ma'am, opposition whip is not.
Okay. So yeah, I would call upon the opposition whip now to present views.
My name is Hemant and I'm other opposition whip. So now I would like to start with technology is not about tools. It deals with how you works with it. Like the government whip has said, honesty and ethical values reduces when it comes to technology. But actually, better than blaming technology, just focus on spreading good education about it. That's the basic thing. Ethical values has nothing to do with technology. Uh, when it comes to wars or anything that is happening bad due to technology, then you can't deny the fact that everything was happening even before when there was technology. Technology is there to make your life easier, and artificial intelligence is not only technology. And you have mentioned that job opportunities have reduced. Firstly, I would like to mention that artificial intelligence is there to help you to reduce the labor work that is there. Okay, it's not only a single function. It's not only a single branch of technology. It's a part of it. Technology is vast. Okay, so as I have mentioned already, like mechatronics, biotech, there are various branches of technology that are creating various job opportunities in today's world. And you can't deny the fact that technology is also helping in our survival. Do you think it was possible to tackle the COVID if technology was not there? Do you think we were able to make vaccine? Do anyhow technology has supported in spreading the COVID? And do you think anyhow we would have tackled it if there was no technology at all? Okay, so people have started getting jobs. People have also started getting jobs in various other fields that I have mentioned, mechatronics, biotech, etc. Also, people are getting to interact with their employers through the platform that technology is providing. For example, LinkedIn. Okay, and I have mentioned that ethical values can't be ethical values has nothing to do with technology. That is the choice of the people. They have to work on their ethical skills, and we have to work on spreading good education about technology. Now imagine if you were still using a stove to light up the fire, using your feet to travel long distances. Why to go somewhere else? Let's talk about Insti. Imagine if you were using your feet to move around between various lecture halls, and to do your own course, you were using your manual labor. Then how much time would have been wasted? How come we get such a good engineers that we are getting now if there was no technology? And how come you would have studied during the COVID times if there was no technology at all? How come the healthcare setup has been this much great if there was no technology? Technology is there to easy our life. It's not there to make it difficult. It's not there to make it's not there to let anyone's downfall. Okay, so now I would like to take POI. Ruchita, say.
Speaker, I would again quote your point, and you had mentioned that it is not. Am I audible? Okay, I'm sorry. It is. Yeah, it is not technology that it is technology that makes you do things faster and faster pace. But is that the world that we are expecting? You really, if you want things to be speeded and things to be done in a short span, where is your true talent being used?
It's true talent being used, as you have mentioned. Okay, so it's not about speeding up our task. Okay, first of all, that I would like to mention that technology is there to make our lives easy, to get the work done. Those we don't have to waste uh, to get the work done, where we don't have to waste time in roaming around the world and doing hard labor in that. Okay, when it comes to talent, then we are here to develop technology, to develop along with the technology, to create new softwares, to create various instruments that will help us in the future, to open up various fields, whether it is in field of science, artificial intelligence, or whatever it is. Like, would it be possible to explore various things in our around our galaxy, or whatever it might be regarding to the space, if there was no technology at all? Would it be able to find would it be able that there was a life sometime at Mars also? Would it have been would it have been possible without technology? So that's all I'm talking about. Technology is the basis of our life. We can't deny that fact. Technology is best. Okay, thank you so much.
Great. Now I would call upon the judges to give their verdict.
Hello. Can we take some time to come to a final conclusion?
Yeah,
We
sure.
will have the verdict by 8:50, 8:45, 8:50.
Yeah, great. So we'll rejoin the meet at 8:50 for the final verdict. Till then, you all can leave and make sure to rejoin at 8:40 sharp.
Hello, Mirankra.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I start with the feedback? Like whatever I have.
Yeah, sure. Everybody, please turn on your cameras, and we are beginning with the judge's verdict.
Okay. First of all, guys, I'm not sure how many of you are debating for the first time, but all of you all did very well. There were. I will just like in terms of verdict. I think the results will be told to by the NCC guys. So I'm not getting into the results or who spoke better, etc. I'll just firstly sort of go briefly over what I feel was missing in terms of your understanding of how debating works. So, in a debate, there are three things that you have to understand. First is you need to be aware of what role you are in. Second, you need to be aware of the motion. And the third thing that you need to know is that you are in it as a team. Okay, so if you are three people, it's not about you putting across your points, it's about the government putting across its points or the opposition putting across its points. Okay, so if we go over it one by one, if we talk about the role, by role, so I think some of you did a very excellent job. If I were to pick out examples specifically, I think Karthik, your arguments in the first debate were very good, but you were the whip, right? You were the government whip, so it wasn't your role to sort of bring up new arguments into the whole debate. Okay, your role is to possibly answer what all questions have been raised and to give a conclusion to the argument. You raised excellent points, and those points, if were raised by the prime minister or like whoever, I think you were on the opposition side, if I'm not wrong. But if they were raised by your leaders or the deputy leaders, that would have been much more impactful instead of them coming from the whip. Okay, so you need to be very, very clear of your role. It is not just always about putting forth good arguments. Good arguments are important, but who are they coming from is also equally important. The next thing that is the next thing you need to know is you need to know your emotions very clearly. And I think I will club this with the team aspect that I was talking about. So when you are putting forth your arguments as a team, and you need to be clear on what stand are you taking on that motion. So it's just not about for or against. It is also about defining it, like what do you exactly mean. Now, for example, in the last debate, the technology debate, there was this point repeatedly, this was coming up, that technology is being misused. Again, the rebut was that it is people's responsibility to understand. So it is the government's duty to define what is the premise of the debate. Like, what are you debating on? Are you debating on whether just is it are you just debating on the core usage of technology, or are you also looking into the practical aspect of it? Because the entire debate was just this, if I were to summarize, that you were saying ki, technology misuse ho raha hai, but the other person was saying that it is not technology's fault, it's people ka fault. Okay, so that was just happening over and over again. So it is the role of the government, or it is the role of the first two speakers to sort of set the premise that what are we actually debating on, and then everyone else is supposed to follow that. And you're not supposed to then change the course of the argument. And I think if I were to again point out, Ruchita, you did this once. I think you tried to give more structure, appreciate the efforts, but again, your role wasn't suited, right? You were the whip. So it isn't part of your job to give structure. The structure has already been set. You just have to sort of pick the best out of it and structure the argument such that it supports your cause. All right. I think there were a lot of speakers and a lot of speeches, so I don't think we can give specific feedback to anybody. But I hope you all enjoyed debating. and we don't worry. I think some of you were underconfident from how you spoke, but don't worry, we haven't judged you on that. We have only judged you on your points, the arguments that you made, and how effective were you in answering questions that were asked you. All right. And another quick thing that I'd like to say is that whenever you are, sort of like whenever you're concluding, make sure that you tie everything together. So, for example, you've spoken for 3.5 minutes, and in the next half minute or 1.5 minute, you want to close. Make sure you give a proper closing to your statements, because sometimes what happens is you say 10 different things in your in your speech, but in the end you don't conclude. The person who's listening, or even the other people listening, they don't know what you exactly said. So it's always a good idea to summarize in the end, that because I think this was done very well by Ravi Kant, if I'm not mistaken. The structure of the argument was very good. I'm not saying that the arguments were good or bad, but the structure was very good. You went into argument number one, argument two, argument three, in details of it. Okay, so that is how you can structure your arguments very well. So you can, build on that example and sort of try to learn from it. The structuring of argument is again something I think all of you can work on. And I think I had more thing to say, but I am not recollecting it right now. Regardless, I would say definitely a very, very good first time. But definitely there is scope of improvement. I'm fairly certain with NCC you'll get multiple such opportunities to, keep doing this. And if anybody wants any specific feedback, or if you want to talk about how your performance was specifically, I mean, at least I have taken detailed notes of your speech, so you can get our contacts from any of the NCC guys and like touch with me, or they willing to help. So if you want specific feedback, you can reach out to us. But all in all, it was fun listening to the entire whatever 3 hours of debating that we experienced today. So thank you guys, all the very best, and hope to see you all in NCT very soon. All right, Radhika, over to you. If there isn't anything else from Vinank, your end.
Thank you, ma'am. Radhika, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, can someone confirm if I'm on?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to start off by saying these were three very good debates for people who are like, you guys are just starting out, and I think the ideas that came up today were very nice. Kushi did give a lot of feedback, which was sort of overlapping with my feedback, but I think a few more things which I would like to say is, generally with debating, you guys had great ideas, right? But when there is a time limit, I think when you are debating, it's very important that although you have a lot of ideas, it's very important to select a few ideas and then focus on analyzing those ideas in depth. It is something that obviously will come with more practice, but I think that that was one thing which was lacking in a lot of the debates, was that yes, the ideas were coming up, but there was not much of in-depth analysis or mechanisms provided for the particular ideas, right? So that is one thing which all of y'all can do to improve your debate a lot. The next point which Kushi also spoke about was speaker roles. So I think this too comes with practice, which probably you guys may not have done a lot of, but understand that speaker roles, it's very important to work as your team, right? When you are prepping, it's very important that if there are 4 ideas, you aren't trying to distribute the new ideas across the speech, right? You're trying to put all the ideas at the starting end of the debate, so at least there is one speech where all your ideas are out and those ideas are there for the entirety of the debate. Because what that does is it puts all the ideas on the table right at the beginning of the debate, which leads to a more engaging debate as a whole. And the next point I want to say is, don't narrow down the debate too much, right? Don't try to debate on very specific topic, but digress from topic so much that you are now debating a completely different motion, right? I'll like the example I can give is the first debate that we did. As we reached the end of the debate, it has started becoming more about democracy and dictatorship, right? You need to focus in on the motion and only stick to the motion. That is a bit of general feedback that I can give you, is that don't even narrow the frame down so much that, for example, the technology debate, right? The debate shouldn't only be about COVID. Although that was one thing that I really liked, was when the, I think, leader of opposition in that debate came up and said that we are looking at how technology has helped people in COVID. That is a thing called time setting, right? You are setting the time of the debate to the time when COVID was active, the pandemic was active. And that is a very good thing. You're choosing a time when your every impact that you're proving, like technology is connecting people. You're saying that, okay, this is like, it's going to be magnified. That is a very good thing to do. But also note that you can't narrow down the debate completely to one area and ignore the other areas. That is something I think you should also be careful about, which is just a bit of feedback going forward. And the last bit of feedback I'd like to give for the debate is that all the benefits you're trying to give, try to show how they manifest in the real world, right? So when you say that something is going to be just or unfair, tell me what exactly makes it just or unfair, or what exactly happens in the real world that makes it just or unfair. Or if you tell me that something is going to be very beneficial, you have to show me like something in the world where I can see that yes, this is definitely beneficial. You have to kind of convince me in a way that I don't have any specific knowledge of my own. I'm like an average intelligent person. And all your arguments have to be targeted towards someone who is a random person who you can try to convince your point of view to, not someone who has knowledge about what you're saying. So in general, that's all the feedback I have. You guys did a great job, and do continue debating if you enjoyed it. So yeah, over to Vinankara.
Thank you so much, Radhika. And thank you, Shika. It was a very valid feedback that the cadets genuinely. And cadets, the two judges for today, they're some of the most competent, capable, and experienced judges. And we thank you for your time, Radhika and Kushi, for sparing so much time for our cadets and giving such a valuable feedback. It was truly amazing. And all the cadets, you did a very great job. And I hope you enjoyed your first experience and your first GC. So keep the Josh high. We have many more events coming up. And as I mentioned, that if you want to contact the judges for some other feedback or some other query, we'll share the contacts and you can get in touch with them. So that is all from my side. I hope you had a great learning experience. And that is it. Jai Hind.
So now, when are the results going to be announced?
The results will be announced soon, not today,
Okay.
but later.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you.
Jen, thank you, ma'am.
Jai Hind, ma'am. Thank you.
Jai Hind, ma'am.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, ma'am.
Jai Hind, ma'am.